Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening for our second all virtual annual member meeting. We certainly hope by this time next year we will be able to offer a return to our in-person member meeting format. My name is Eric Artz, and I serve the co-op as president and CEO. Tonight, we'll share with you the co-op story of 2020, which, as we all know, was a year like no other. We'll begin our program with our board chair, Tony Truesdale, who will lead us through our formal member meeting business. Then we'll turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Kelly Hall, to provide a financial update. You'll then hear about our future from me and our Chief Customer Officer, Ben Steele. And we'll end by answering the questions you all submitted. I like to enter the REI journey in 2020 as a bookend story. As Kelly will share with you shortly, we began 2020 and entered the pandemic with momentum and a strong financial position. We ended 2020 with momentum and an improved financial position over the start to the year. And the strength of our business as we emerged enabled us to make some big moves, investing in things like customer innovation, employee hourly pay, and our impact work. That said, we wrote a few very uncommon chapters between those bookends, which we will touch on and acknowledge the importance of tonight. As a co-op, we measure our business differently and beyond just the success of our financial bottom line. We look at our positive impact on our employees, our members, and society. We are a purpose-led business, and the crisis of 2020 truly highlighted the importance of continuing to live our values. As the pandemic began to unfold, we held the health and the well-being of our people and our community above all else. And I couldn't be more proud and grateful to all our employees who rose to the challenges. And I'm incredibly grateful to all of you for continuing to support the co-op during such a turbulent year. So let's start with our formal business for the evening. I'd like to welcome REI's board chair, Tony Truesdale. Tony?
Thank you, Eric. Every year, REI members have the opportunity to elect members to our co-op's board of directors, each of whom serves a 3-year term. REI's board is legally responsible by statute and through our articles of incorporation and bylaws for the overall direction of the affairs and performance of REI. The board carries out this legal responsibility by establishing broad policy and by monitoring management within the framework of these broad policy guidelines. Members of our board of directors work with our president and CEO, Eric, and our senior leadership team to set the direction of the co-op with REI values at the center and within the context of relevant markets in the outdoor and specialty retail industries. This year, 3 directors were up for re-election: Chris Carr, Matt Compton, Beth Newland Campbell. Each of the 3 board members standing for election having received more for votes than withheld votes and have been re-elected to another 3-year term. I'd also like to take a few moments to recognize the service of another board member, Steve Lockhart, who is stepping off the board after 12 years of service. Steve has been an amazing contributor to the co-op over the last 12 years. His professionalism, his insight, and his counsel to Eric and myself have been invaluable, and we wish him the best. Steve, I think you have a few words you want to share.
I'm Stephen Lockhart, board member of REI. Today marks the end of a 12-year journey of service on this board. It has truly been a privilege to serve. I won't comment on the economic growth and stability that we've experienced over the last 12 years. Certainly, we have experienced success both as a company and as an outdoor retailer. But the things that I am most proud of have nothing to do with our economic success. We have had courageous leaders at the helm of our organization over the last 12 years: Sally Jewell, Jerry Stritsky, Eric Artz, and a board that has been committed to work with them to help solve some of society's most vexing problems. At our core, we are an organization that cares for the planet and connects us, its inhabitants, to the outside world. Opt Outside, for example, is one of the most creative and impactful campaigns ever launched. And it awakened an awareness within this country of the value, the benefits that the outdoors confers on each of us if we will only opt outside. It had a huge impact that is still reverberating. We have contributed to improving numerous parks, trails, and supporting numerous community-based organizations who wish simply to get their membership to be able to enjoy the outdoors. It is true that a life lived outdoors is a life well lived. It is more than a motto or a slogan. We have also played our role in promoting a just, equitable, and civil society. I recall when REI made a courageous decision to speak out against proposed legislation in the state of Washington that would have banned same-sex marriage. Our stance was based upon the principled fact that any such law would require us to discriminate against a member of our staff, and that was antithetical to our values as a co-op. In the aftermath of the George Floyd murder, we also adopted a stance against racism in our society, and we're working very hard to make sure that REI, as a company, is one which is diverse, inclusive, and welcoming. And we have the cultural humility to understand that this is a journey. Even in the face of the pandemic, the worst public health crisis that we've faced in a century in this country, all of our actions were based upon the co-op values. At REI, we do well by doing good. That is the co-op way. That is the way for REI in the future. And frankly, that is the way for our society as well. Again, I wish to thank you for the wonderful opportunity and experience that 12 years on this board has provided to myself and my family. And I just want to express my immense gratitude for all that REI means to each and every one of us as members and to our society as a whole. Thank you.
Steve, on behalf of the entire board, we can't thank you enough for your service. Now to everyone watching, on behalf of the co-op's board, thank you for joining us for our meeting today. And thank you for your continued support of REI. With that, we'll adjourn the official meeting of the board, and I'll turn the meeting over to Chief Financial Officer Kelly Hall to share 2020 financial highlights.
Thanks, Tony. Good evening, everyone. You know, as Eric shared at the top, we started 2020 strong and we finished it strong with a very healthy cash position and no debt, reporting $2.75 billion in revenue for the year. That reflects our business success. But as you know, we also measure ourselves against the positive impact we have on our employees, our members, and society. Each year, our co-op members receive a unique benefit, the REI member dividend, which is your share of REI's profits for the past year. We didn't earn a profit in 2020, so we didn't have those profits to provide to you all as members in the form of dividends. But we still wanted to thank you for your support and loyalty. That's why we gave you the member reward equivalent to what your dividend would have been. A total investment on behalf of the co-op of $112.4 million. We also invested $6.3 million in more than 460 nonprofits around the country. Those are groups that share our goal of creating access to outdoor places and enabling transformational outdoor experiences for everyone. We also announced an investment in retail pay, giving our retail employees, from sales associates to floor managers, pay raises. That pay increase, combined with the pay investments we made in 2019, add up to a $40 million investment in retail hourly pay over 24 months. These investments and our ability to make them don't happen by accident. We entered the pandemic with momentum, and we quickly made a number of decisions that helped us preserve our position. We were one of the first retailers to close all of our stores and one of the last to reopen. And when we did so by investing in best-in-class health and safety protocols. While we temporarily furloughed nearly 9,000 retail employees, we continue to pay their benefits. And we adjusted our inventory levels. We also made the decision to sell our headquarters buildings and completely rethink the future of office work in a post-pandemic world. Throughout the pandemic, we've also seen people turn to the outdoors like never before. Many of our product categories that support close to home recreation saw substantial year-over-year growth, which helped drive some of our stronger than anticipated performance once our stores were able to reopen. For example, the cycle category, which includes not only bikes, but also bike accessories, apparel, and gear, was up about 5 times compared to 2019 levels. Camp furniture was up 4 times, and snowshoes were also up 4 times. All of these demonstrate the strength of the outdoors as we exited 2020 and entered 2021. Looking ahead to the rest of 2021, the outdoors is still clearly winning. We continue to see strong interest in many product categories, which some of you have likely noticed as the industry tries to keep up with this truly unprecedented demand. While we're working hard to get our customers the gear they need to continue pursuing their outdoor passions, we are also still seeing strong customer demand for gear overall, and product is selling quickly, particularly in cycling and paddling. In some cases, we are temporarily selling out, but rest assured, our teams are working closely with our suppliers and vendor partners to ensure that we're continuing to innovate, to serve our customers, and to work to keep up with that demand. However, we do expect this trend to continue through 2021. We just wrapped up our first quarter of 2021, and I'm pleased to share the business is healthy and growing. We see a bright future ahead. We started and ended 2020 with positive momentum, which, as I mentioned, continued into this year. We expect strong revenue growth for 2021, and we also expect to see a return to operating profit this year. The strength of our balance sheet with significant cash on hand and no debt also puts us in a great position to continue to invest in our business, support our nonprofit partners, and share our success with our employees and our members. With that, I'll now turn it back over to Eric, our CEO, and Ben Steele, our Chief Customer Officer, to talk us through some of what the future will look like for the co-op.
Well, thank you, Kelly. As Kelly shared, we have the privilege of measuring our success by more than just our financial performance. And as I mentioned in the opening, we hold ourselves accountable to creating a lasting, positive impact on our employees, our members, and on society. We call this our impact work. You know, when I think about what REI looks like in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years in the future, it's really centered on you, our member community. Right now, we have 20 million lifetime members. What would it look like if we were a 50 million member strong community? What if we could build more ways for you to meaningfully engage with the co-op and work with us to create positive impact? The co-op has always been about coming together for the greater good. One of our store managers in North Carolina recently shared with me a snapshot of an REI catalog from 1978, featuring a definition of the word cooperative, which is to act or operate jointly with others for a common goal. This is who we are. As one person or as one company, we can only do so much, but by mobilizing our 20 million members, our 15,000 employees, and our entire co-op community, the spirit of the co-op, founded and forever grounded in the common good, we can create positive change in the world, and a world that needs it now. We believe the 2 most pressing issues that need attention of the co-op and the co-op community are climate change and racial inequity. We also believe we have a responsibility and an opportunity to do what we can to advance progress against both. On the climate topic, back in September, we announced our plans to more than halve our carbon footprint by 2030, even as we continue to grow in size and revenue. We also celebrated the completion of a 14-year commitment to be carbon neutral in our operations, taking the co-op climate neutral beginning with 2020's emissions. And with this move, we've effectively embedded the climate impact of doing business into our very business model. That means every piece of Co-op Brands gear you buy is now climate neutral certified, and that going forward, running a healthy business will require us to continue to shrink our gross carbon footprint. In 2020, we reported a 16% decrease in our emissions year over year, and this is progress. But as a retailer, our footprint isn't just made up of the emissions from our own operations. It also must include the emissions embedded in the products from every brand we sell. The true measure of the co-op's impact is that of our community. Together, we can create a future where the power of the outdoors is available to every person, where all feel safe and welcome, and the health of our planet is protected for generations to come. I will now invite Ben Steele, our Executive Vice President and the Co-op's Chief Customer Officer, to share more about our racial equity work and how we are engaging the co-op community in cooperative action. Ben?
Thanks so much, Eric. In the midst of the pandemic, the repeated events of racial violence throughout the summer of 2020 shone a spotlight on an ongoing national crisis, and in doing so accelerated our efforts to advance racial equity, both at REI and within the broader outdoor industry. Our efforts and the work to drive progress will carry on well beyond a single calendar year. I want to go back to the very essence of who we are at our core. As a co-op, we exist to inspire and enable life outside for everyone. Creating a co-op community for everyone means acknowledging and addressing some fundamental truths. Black Lives Matter, systemic racism is real, and it's present in all aspects of our society, including the co-op. Our employees, our customers, and our members are not immune from its impact. As business leaders, as a purpose-led organization, and as global citizens, we believe it is our responsibility at REI to be a part of the solution. And you'll hear more and more about that, and more about us on this topic moving forward. We have a tremendous amount of work to do in this area, and we're embarking on a journey that will require us to transform from the inside out. But we've also made a lot of progress, and we're proud of that progress as well. In the last year, we've partnered with external racial equity consultants and are in the process of developing our long-term racial equity strategy. We also formed an external BIPOC advisory council made up of experts from a variety of industries and sectors. Those folks are compensated for their consultation and input on our work. We launched our first 4 employee resource groups, creating much needed community safe spaces for underrepresented groups at the co-op. We're launching a 6-month retail pilot to increase Black and African American representation in our workforce. And we updated our product impact standards in December of 2020. In doing so, we ask all of our brand partners to incorporate inclusive design and marketing practices, such as ensuring that the products they create do not feature culturally appropriated designs. But as a co-op, we know that our true power and impact happens when we come together. As Steve Lockhart said, we do well by doing good together. And we're proud to announce and share a new way for us to do that as a community. That's why we launched Cooperative Action, a new platform to harness the collective power of our rapidly growing community to combat the most pressing issues facing our industry and our society. It's our way to amplify the existing impact of our millions of members, our tens of thousands of employees, and our thousands of vendor partners. We'll use cooperative action to spark action and drive impact, from lightening the carbon footprint of an individual to raising your voice on the issues that impact life outside for everybody, to collectively fundraising for the network of hundreds of nonprofit partners throughout the country. To start, we're inviting our members and employees to take 2 simple actions to lighten your footprint. First, Extend the life of quality gear by purchasing or trading in lightly used products. On average, the carbon footprint for a piece of used gear is half that of the same item new. You can find out more about how to do that at REI.com. If you're looking for a tangible way to fight climate change, one of the best things you can do is shop used. Imagine the impact each of us would have if we bought one used item this year. We're also inviting you to take action with us through a new grassroots advocacy tool, the Cooperative Action Network. The network builds on the co-op's decades of policy and advocacy work and gives everyone in our community an easy way to take a stand and make their voice heard on policies and legislation that impact life outdoors. We're starting by asking Congress to pass the Replant Act. That's an effort for the U.S. Forest Service to plant 1.2 billion years and create 1.2 billion trees and create 49,000 jobs over the next 10 years. And again, you can learn more and add your voice to the fight at rei.com/act. Now back to Eric for some closing thoughts.
Thank you, Ben. And as Ben shared, we're proud of the progress we've made, and we're humbled and inspired by how much we have yet to do. Our co-op was founded on the principle of individuals coming together for the greater good, accomplishing more together than we ever could alone. Coming together for collective impact is quite literally the only way we will achieve our climate and racial equity goals, and believe it has never been more important. As we emerge from one of the most challenging periods in recent history and begin to look to the future, as I said in the beginning, I couldn't be more grateful to our employees, our members, and our nonprofit partners, our vendor partners. When the pandemic first began, as Kelly shared, we put our people first. We implemented best-in-class safety protocols and will continue to put the health and safety of the communities that we serve front and center. Our employees pivoted time and again while innovating for our customers. Our members, you asked how you could help, and you opened your wallets to support our nonprofit partners through our Outdoor Emergency Fund. And our vendor partners have made great climate and racial equity progress of their own while working tirelessly with us to get products into the hands of our customers. So thank you. Thank you all for all you've done over this past year. The potential power of our 15,000 employees, our 20 million members, and our broader community to make collective impact has never been more evident. The future is bright, and we hope you will continue to join us on our journey. So I'm going to hand it back over to Ben for the next section, where we're going to answer questions that have been submitted from our community. Back to you, Ben.
Excellent. Thanks again, Eric. So this year we asked for questions from our members through our online community Conversations. REI Conversations is an online community where people can connect, learn, share, and be inspired to get outside. We even have a special section for REI members where we ask you for your top questions that you'd like to ask of the leadership team. And we're going to share a few of those here today. Our first question is going to go to Wilma Wallace, REI's General Counsel and Corporate Secretary. Wilma, how can REI do more to advocate for the maintenance of our public lands? I see too much waste, trash, and graffiti out on trails. What can REI do to help make leaving nothing behind, leave no trace principles cool again?
So thanks for that question, Ben. So we're immensely proud of the work that we do to make the outdoors accessible to all. But of course, there's always more work that can be done. So part of that involves continuing to inspire a love and respect for our natural spaces. We offer a wide range of classes and experiences, both online and in person. And we generate a wide range of articles sharing information on respect for the outdoors, both in our online content and in our stores. And they're on topics ranging from who has the right of way on a trail to how to respectfully use electronic devices. Our store associates, as I mentioned, and local experience teams also advocate for leave no trace in customer interactions. And in fact, last year, we led a coalition of agencies, nonprofits, and recreation businesses and launched Recreate Responsibly, a set of guidelines for best practices to enjoy the outdoors while also minimizing the real risk of COVID-19. These types of guidelines are refined seasonally and updated as pandemic guidance changes. For example, as we enter the dry season here in the West, the coalition is preparing to roll out wildfire awareness education. And it's important to remember that the places we enjoy outdoors exist within a culture of growing consumerism and growing waste. And we're trying to right the course of conspicuous and wasteful consumption through our reuse and repurpose offerings, cooperative action, which you just mentioned, and our experiences programming. So we know that with the force of our 20 million membership, we can be the first to lessen our footprint and add to the movement to leave no trace.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Wilma. These next two questions are actually going to go to Eric. Eric, the first question, what actions can REI take, or what actions is REI planning to take to further provide access to outdoor recreation for underserved or underrepresented communities and groups?
Well, thank you for the question. We believe that time outside is fundamental for the social, cultural, economic, and individual health and well-being of all people. Yet millions of Americans lack access to nature and healthy outdoor spaces, while many others don't feel a sense of safety or belonging in the outdoors. These issues stem from legacies and systems of inequity, of injustice, and racism. Connecting these underrepresented groups to the outdoors is one of the pillars of our philanthropic programs. There is no simple or singular solution to these challenges. It takes community-wide action to ensure all people have the right to access and enjoy the outdoors and honor it and protect it. To catalyze this effort, our philanthropy efforts will intentionally focus on historically marginalized groups. It is these very groups who are leading the way in addressing barriers and creating newfound opportunities for all. REI, we have deep-rooted partnerships and communities across the country and decades of philanthropic experience, which we will use to accelerate the work of organizers, of local leaders, of movement makers, those who are paving the way in building more accessible, just, and equitable outdoor spaces for all.
Thank you, Eric. Second question for you would be, REI seems to be growing more passionate and more vocal about political issues. In doing so, are we leaving behind the original mission of getting people outdoors? And why the change?
Another great question, and thank you for it. As we've mentioned a number of times tonight, we are a values-driven company operating with a shared set of beliefs, and we measure success not only on our balance sheet, but our positive impact on employees, on members, and society at large. Climate change is real and caused by humans. Systemic racism is real, and it exists within our society and impacts the co-op and our employees. We also believe that the outdoors and the co-op should be welcoming and affirming spaces to all, especially those who have been historically underrepresented, including women, Black people, people of color, Indigenous people, the Asian American and Pacific Islander community, gay, lesbian, transgender, and non-binary people. Where those benefits overlap with political party platforms is happenstance. Those are our values, not politics. These beliefs are not just ours, they're shared by the members we're hoping to attract as well. If we are to meet our future membership goals, they need to see us living those values and helping them transform them into actions. The Cooperative Action Network has been shared as the place where we're going to make that happen. Finally, we believe those with the power to create positive change have the responsibility to do so. REI has that power, and so we will speak on topics that have a direct impact on the future health of our co-op community. Climate change and racism are the two greatest existential threats facing our business and our planet, and we cannot and we will not be silent. I do want to assure you all that we think very carefully before making any statement of beliefs. Broadly, we consider the potential impact of a statement. Can we make a positive impact by raising our voice? Can we bend the arc of social discourse for the better? Every situation is unique, but no matter the situation, the most important consideration is simple. Is this the right thing to do? We believe fighting against systemic racism and the future health of the planet is indeed the right thing to do, and we will continue to lead on these issues.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you for your leadership in these areas as well. Next question is going to go to Kelly Hall, our Chief Financial Officer, and it's about the end of life and sustainability of the gear and apparel that we sell. Kelly, can REI pay more attention to repair and redistribution? Increase in membership would be most equitably attained through outreach across the economic spectrum.
Thanks, Ben, and thanks for the question. Let me take this in two pieces. For the first part of the question, we strongly believe in the need to transition to a circular economy, to extend the life of our products and to minimize waste. One of the ways we do this is by servicing and repairing the gear we offer. Let me give you a couple examples. We offer in-house maintenance and repair services for skis, snowboards, and bikes. We've partnered with several third-party organizations to provide high-quality repair services for common product categories, including apparel, footwear, and tent poles. We also offer an extensive library of online guidance for gear care and repair guides to maximize the lifetime of our products. We're also working hard to expand our used gear programs, Ben, as you were talking about earlier. We sell close to 1 million used items each year. And used gear not only comes at a lower price point, but is also one of the best ways customers can reduce their carbon footprint. As a reminder of that amazing stat from earlier, purchasing a piece of used gear on average represents a 50% carbon savings. And we also encourage REI members to give new life to their gently used gear by selling it back to the co-op. To answer your second question, every team within the co-op is committed to advancing racial equity, including our real estate team. In recent years, we've explored different store formats in new locations, including the used gear pop-ups and experience centers. These new touch points have really resonated with our customers and are really critical to attracting new members, as Eric just talked about. Future store placement decisions are absolutely something we'll be looking at as part of our overall inclusivity efforts, and we look forward to sharing more in the future.
Thanks, Kelly. These next two questions are about our gear and apparel product assortment. I'm actually going to answer these ones. The first is, can I expect to see our extended size options increase across the assortment? So over the past few years, we've brought in new brands into the co-op that have offered more inclusive sizing options, including great work by our co-op brands team, external partners like Prana and Columbia. And we're going to continue to expand that portfolio of brands, categories, and size runs this year. We carry sizes up to 3X in 31 of our stores, and you can find all-inclusive sizing options at rei.com. And I'd call that out as an area where the voice of the customer, the voice of the member helps guide us. So that dialogue in the areas you want to see that assortment expand is super helpful. And maybe I'll use that to segue to the next question, which is very specifically about why are particular brands a part of your assortment and others are not? How do you choose? How do you decide? So as a specialty retailer, our merchants are always on the lookout for the best selection of products to meet our customers and members' needs. Whether we carry a particular brand depends on many factors, including but not limited to that brand's quality and dependability, its price position in its category, sustainability efforts and practices, commitments to the outdoor specialty industry, and alignment with our activity strategy. That assortment is always changing, and the brands that are a part of it are always changing. But again, as customers and members, your voice and your guidance there is helpful as well. So continue to raise great brands you'd like to see as a part of the assortment. All right, for this last question, I'm going to go back to Wilma. Wilma, will we create beginner packages or solutions for folks who are newly interested in the outdoors but don't have the money to get outfitted all at once? How do we help more people discover and enter the outdoors?
Great, thanks for that, Ben. So we're deeply committed to making the outdoors accessible to all, no matter their budget or their familiarity with the activity at hand. You don't have to be an expert to participate in the activities at REI, but we do offer expert advice to those that are curious, for instance, about a new way to enjoy time in the outside, both in store from our green vests and also in our free how-to content library. So if you're ready to learn while doing, we also have introductory and how-to classes that are a great way to pick up a new hobby or skill, and we'll even provide the gear for you. Kelly mentioned this. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about our used and rental gear, but that's another terrific way to try a new adventure at low cost. So we offer competitive rates for high quality camping, hiking, climbing, cycling, paddling, and snow gear. So the options are out there to be able to explore on a budget that's reasonable in a new space or a new activity that you may not have familiarity with.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So thank you to everyone who submitted questions. Again, we're always eager to hear what folks are thinking about and what's on your mind. And I'd point you back to REI Conversations as a place for ongoing dialogue with REI staff, but also with the member community. And with that, I'm going to hand back over to Eric to officially close the meeting.
Thank you, Ben and Wilma and Kelly. Appreciate it. That is the end of our program for the evening. So thank you all for joining us this evening, and thank you for all you've done to support the co-op. Please take care of yourself, and let's keep on taking care of each other. I hope to see you out there very soon. Have a great night. Thank you.